In light of our recent city fires, one of which called for most of our outfits to respond, do you feel that our fire department is adequately staffed to ensure the safety of both our citizens and firemen alike?
Sam?
Well, we're not sure what's possible right now and what's not possible because, according to many members of the City Council, the budget isn't transparent enough, so it's hard to figure out exactly where there's overspending and where we could save money so we could add to the fire department. I think that everybody would like to see the fire department get back to around 200. Those that I talk to in the fire department tell me that that can be done by simply reducing overtime costs. That you have a situation right now where we're spending so much on overtime that's precluding us adding to the number of firefighters that we have. So public safety is the #1 function of government, the #1 function of city government. I would like to add firefighters. Do we have the funds so that we can do that? That remains to be seen, and I will address that as one of my top priorities right after I'm sworn in as mayor, if I get that opportunity.
Do you support privatization services like trash if the cost to benefit makes sense and saves taxpayers money?
Sam?
At this time, I would not be in favor of privatizing, but I think that everything has to be looked at. The city has some very serious liabilities, whether it's the sewer project, whether it is the bonding liability, whether it is the pension liability. It's clear this is going to be a consistent theme of mine tonight, that there has been, just as there was at the district attorney's office when I took over back in 2007, there has been overspending in certain areas and underspending in others. So at the present time, I would not support privatization, but I will look at everything in order to try to save the city money and in order to try to get the most out of the dollars that we're spending. That's something that over 8 years we've done very successfully at the district attorney's office, and that's why the district attorney's office is at the top in almost every category, at the top or close to it statewide. So I'll take the same approach as mayor that I took at as DA. Everything right now, not supporting privatization, but I'm going to look at everything in order to save the city money and spend our money in the wisest way possible.
What does government transparency mean to you, and what will you do in order to achieve and maintain it throughout the next year?
Well, government transparency means being open with the public about everything you're doing. That's exactly the way I've proceeded over the past 8 years as district attorney. The only matters that we keep from the public are matters that are under investigation. But anything that we've done with respect to a policy or a protocol, any budget decision, we've been very open and transparent about that. What I would do with the city would be similar to what I've done at the district attorney's office. I would be very visible and very audible. I'd be on the radio regularly talking about what we're doing and why we're doing it. On Channel 95, at the Herald News, on the Herald News website. That's how you get support from the public about what you're trying to do. And it's up to the leader, and that's what I've been over the past 8 years, to persuade the public about the wisdom of what the leader's organization is doing. So that's what I think openness and transparency is all about. I could give you an anecdote about how we've dealt with salaries at the district attorney's office. There hasn't been one salary decision that hasn't been published on either bostonherald.com or Open Checkbook. And everybody in the office understands at the district attorney's office exactly why they're making what they're making and why others are making what they're making. And that's why we've had such little turnover at the district attorney's office over the past 8 years. We've created that kind of a congenial, mutually supportive atmosphere. So that is what openness and transparency is all about.
When building the FY16 budget, will you appropriate the minimum net school spending before any other appropriations are made?
Mr. Sutter.
For me, this has been the simplest of the 4 questions so far to answer, and I don't think I'll need all of my allotted time to answer it. Will I agree to spend the net school spending amount set by the experts at the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education? Yes. Absolutely and categorically yes. There's never going to be an attempt for a waiver under a Sutter administration at City Hall. That's the minimum that we're going to spend. Now, do we need to try to spend that money as efficiently as we can? Yes, we do. Is that something that I've proven that I can do as the district attorney over the last 8 years? Yes, I have. We have, if you look at the amount of funding we receive, according to the number of cases we prosecute, we're one of the worst funded district attorney's offices in the state, and yet, as I said, we either lead the state or we're near the top in every category by which district attorneys are judged. So that's what I will bring to City Hall, and my team will bring to City Hall. As far as the progress in the schools, it's clear by the data that we're making some, but we're not making enough, and we're not making it fast enough. Right now, according to my information, my data, we're around the middle of the group of gateway cities. We need to put Fall River to the top of the gateway cities, and I'm confident that under my administration, over a period of time, we can do exactly that.
Ask, what do you feel is the #1 responsibility of Mayor of Fall River?
Sam Sutter.
What is the #1 responsibility of the mayor? Well, I've said this many times publicly. I've answered this question in a different context. I think the #1 function of government, of city government, of the mayor is public safety. People have to feel safe and be safe in order to pursue their dreams. It's just that simple. Now, as a good friend of mine, a former mayor and a very successful one says, there are 4 legs to the mayor's chair. And in this case, because of the budget issues, there are 5. So we have to get the most out of our dollars. That's the budget. And we have to get more kids to college and graduating from college and coming back to this area. That's our education. And we have to have more economic development and get more good jobs into the city. That's economic development. We have to do more to revitalize our neighborhoods. And all of that, I think, can be done. But the #1 priority of a mayor and of government is public safety.
Gentlemen, how do you feel about the cost of health care for retirees being increased to cover budget deficits?
Sam Sutter.
Well, I agree with some of the sentiments that I have heard. I agree that we want our retirees to keep the protection that they've earned, and I agree that we do not want to see them have to pay more to see their costs increased. But what I haven't heard is the reality that I think some of the people on this dais know, and that's the elephant in the room. The fact is that according to my research and information, we have a $325 million pension liability. I heard this from the head of the retirement board. There are 104 cities and towns that are ranked according to the solvency of their pension system. Fall River ranks 100th of 104. So that is going to be a top priority of the Sutter administration to address that and bring that back to health, because that is exactly what has not happened up to this point in time.
Candidates, what are your thoughts about the circumstances that led you to this stage today, the recall? Do you believe in its process? And is there anything about it that you would change?
Sam Sutter.
Well, I want to start by commending the recall group, because they had had enough. They had passion for their cause. You've heard me speak a lot tonight about vision, about a plan, and then about implementing that vision and plan. It's exactly what the recallers did, and here are the fruits of their hard work. So I commend them. But at the same time, I think the recallers, almost to a person, and I think most of the people in Fall River would say that the law needs to be clarified. How much time, how much money, how much anxiety was spent in court trying to figure out exactly what the recall law said. And where are we? We have a situation where the person who may be recalled can run to succeed themselves. That law needs to be clarified, and it needs to be clarified immediately. Thank you.
Sam Sutter.
Well, I want to begin by thanking all of you that are here and all of you that are watching for your interest in what's going to take place on December the 16th, which is clearly going to be a critical juncture in our city's history. There are many issues in this election. You've heard some of them discussed tonight. They're the broadest issues, such as the budget, economic development and jobs, schools, neighborhoods, public safety. There are specific issues, and we've heard questions about some of those tonight, such as trash collection or the city charter. But I think many of you, if not most, will agree that what this election is about more than anything are these three issues. Number one, leadership. If we agree that the city's at a critical juncture, who do we want to lead the city forward? Who has a record of leadership in public office in this race? And I submit to you, as I often say, or I used to say when I was in front of juries, that the person with the most proven record of leadership in this race is myself. And the next issue is integrity. So for 8 years, I've been leading, along with the fine people at the District Attorney's Office, an agency that is in the spotlight every single day on issues of integrity and ethics. And I ask you, has there ever been any suggestion on any case or any action that's been taken of impropriety or unethical behavior? Leadership, integrity, and finally, effectiveness. Many can tout their record, but who, leading a public agency, has a proven record for you of getting results, sometimes against great odds, cutting gun violence, cutting gang activity, solving homicides, winning homicide trials, reducing gun violence, as I said, reducing turnover within the office, managing a budget every single year in the most cost-effective way possible. So on those, there can be disagreements among us on some of the specific issues I mentioned. But on the key issues in this race, leadership, integrity, and effectiveness, I say as humbly as I can, I think I'm the best candidate, and I ask for your vote on December the 16th. Thank you.